So let's take a variable called x. And how do we write a complex number? We write
Real
it
part and imaginary.
Right. So what would be the real part? Any integer, right? And what could be the imaginary part?
The part which is associated with I.
Like this?
Yes.
Okay. So what happened here?
Yeah, syntax error.
Okay. So here I can use J. Okay. Though in our algebra we have used I for imaginary part. In Python you need to use J. Okay. So if I check the data type of this X variable. So Shamanth, what do we write for checking the data type?
Into print of X.
Okay, print of X I will do. This will
Type, sorry, a print of type of X.
Okay. So Kiran, are you aware of this?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Type function.
Right, type function. So this will give me the data type of variable X. Okay, and it says it is a complex number. Okay, now you must be wondering why does it show like this? Okay, so sometimes when you are doing the program and if you want simply use like this, this will give you just okay. If you guys are using Colab or Jupyter notebooks, it will just print complex. It will not print class here. Okay. So based on the data type, if you want to write some program, then you can use type function there. Okay. Now with this X variable, which holds a complex number, we can do a little bit of work. Okay. So X is my complex number. And if I want to know the real part of it, so I'll say X dot real. Okay. So this was my real part, 5. That's what I get here. Okay. Similarly, if I want the imaginary part, I will say X dot imag or image. Okay. This will give you the imaginary part from the complex number.
Okay.
That's all you need to know about complex numbers. No use for us. It's just that it is available here in the Python. Okay. Now, so we haven't talked about data type conversion as of now. And I had given one program to Shaman. I hope you have written it now to take the input and then try to convert.
No, sir.
Why? You had the entire weekend here. Okay. So before we talk about data type conversion, Kiran, just try to understand this. Okay. For Shaman, we have done this already. So as of now, what we are doing, right? Suppose if I go and open a file or new file and try to write some program, suppose I want to add 2 numbers, right? X is equal to 12 and Y is equal to maybe 15. And if I say Z is equal to X plus Y, Z. This is a very simple, very simple program. We are not doing anything too complex or too tricky there. We are just adding 2 numbers, right?
Right.
So if I run this file, it will what will it display on the screen? What will be the output?
Uh, 37. Sorry, 27.
27, right? Simple. Yeah. Now, if I need to add 2 numbers again, and those numbers are going to be different, then I need to come back to this file and change these numbers. Maybe this time 13 it is, and maybe this is 25. Then I need to save this file and run this again. Then I'll get the sum again. Okay. So why shouldn't we take input from the user? Which numbers do you want to add together, right? We can do that. Okay. So instead of coding the values inside the program, okay, instead of coding the values inside the program, we can take the input from the user. Okay. So here, let me make a comment. There's a function called input. Okay. Input function is used to receive inputs from users. Secondly, input is always received as string data type. You need to be very careful. Okay, the data that we receive using input function is always going to be string data type. Okay, that will not be integer, that will not be float, that will not be Boolean, that will be string. Okay, now if we need, we must convert the data type to our requirements. And this is where it is very important to learn data type conversion. Okay, so now instead of providing the values right here, I would say input, this is your function. And if I just say, okay, let me just show this thing here first. Okay, suppose if I need access something, let's take a is something, and I type input. Okay, and if I press enter, it will wait for me to provide a value. So this blinking cursor means it is waiting for an input from the user. Okay, so let's say I provide 25. Okay. The value is received, and if I try to print a, it will display 25. If I check the data type of this variable a, what should be the data type here? Kiran.
Integer.
Okay, think again. I just told
String.
string, because whenever I provide any input through input function, that would always be string. Okay. Thumb rule, very important, you must remember. Whenever a user provides an input for input function, that would always be string data type. Okay. Now, if I take b is equal to input, and again provide some numbers, 12, and this b is also going to be string, right? Now, if I say print a plus b, what should be the output? Just give me a minute. Think about this. Yes, correct. What should be the output?
Yeah, it should be a 37.
Okay. Shavant.
$37.
Okay, you're not revising. Not good. Okay. So remember, both a and b, they are strings. They are strings. They are not integers. They cannot be added together. However, in Python, this plus symbol works with the strings also. However, this will concatenate.
Sorry, 2512. Sir.
Right, it will concatenate the strings. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. This is as good as saying I'm taking two strings, hello plus class. Okay. So I am using hello, this is a string, plus another string class. If I press enter, they will be combined together, they will be concatenated. Okay, so in Python, the plus works with the strings as well. However, it is used for concatenation, means combining or joining two strings. Okay, let me mark it here. Works as concatenation operator for strings in Python. Okay. Kiran, you understood this part, a plus b, where I did a plus b?
Yes, sir.
So 25 was
Variation of two strings will be the continuous numbers.
right. So 25 was, if I say 25 plus 12, this will be 37. Okay. But actually what I'm doing is I'm doing this.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm not using integers. These are integers and these are strings.
Mhm.
Okay. So when I do the second one, this will give me concatenation. It will not add the numbers together.
Mhm.
Okay. Clear with this?
Yeah. Yeah, got it, sir.
Shamant?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm not sure about Ramya. I have no clue. Okay. Fine. So now this is a problem, right? I want to add two numbers, but I have strings. I don't have the integers, right?
Right.
So what should we do? We should be converting the data type from string to integers. Okay. So how do we do that? We have a, and type of a we are already aware it is string. If I need to convert this into integers, I will use, so I'm using self-assignment, means I'm assigning the variable back to the same variable. So I'll say a is equal to, I will use integer function, int function itself, okay, and provide a as an argument. So what does it do? This will convert a into integer. Okay, this function will convert a into integer, assign the value back to a variable. This is easy, right?
Yeah.
Convert the variable integer and assign value back to same variable. If you wish, you can create another variable, but that is again utilizing your memory. So as many variables as you create, you will utilize the memory more, right? So it is better. If you wish, you can assign the same variable. Okay, so now what does A have? Again, A will have the same value, but this time the data type is changed. Right?
Right.
So similarly, if I wish to change for B, what should I write here?
B equals B int B.
B equals integer of B or int of B. Okay. Now B will also have an integer value. Okay. And now if I try to print the sum of these two numbers, I will get the desired result, whatever I want. Okay. So this int function works as a type converter, the data type conversion. Okay, I'm changing a string to integer using int. Okay, so mark it here. Int is used convert any variable to integer class. Okay. Similarly, we have a function called float. Float is used to convert any variable to float class or floating numbers. Okay. Now, how does that work? So what do I have now? A is now 25, correct? What if I do A is equal to float of A? What should be the output? I have done this. Now if I print A, what should be the output?
25.0.
25.0, exactly. Okay, so when I convert anything into float, if it has any decimal part, well and good, that will be used. If it does not have any decimal part, it will use .0. Okay, the only restriction is you should not be using actual literal string. So if I say C is equal to hi, okay, and if I try to convert this into float or integer, this will be a problem. Okay. Okay. This will be a problem. It will say invalid literal for integer with base 10. You cannot convert this high or in characters which are not numeric characters. You cannot convert them into any integer or float. So if I try with float also, it will throw us the same errors, similar error. Okay, could not convert this into float. Okay, so this error, this is value error here also, value error here also. And I think this is very common sense, easy to understand. We cannot convert letters to numbers, right? Okay. So now, if I take an input for C, I say input, and we need to provide some numbers here. I will use 8, 9 like this. So C has, so what should be the data type for C?
Float.
Think again.
So input or string.
This would be string. So whenever I take input, it would always be string. And if I convert this into float, what should be the value now? Means the value will remain same. But it's not going to change. Okay. But the type would be float. Okay. Now, C has this 12.89. What if I convert this 12.89 into integer? What if I do this way?
Only the 12 part, whole part will be
Right. So whatever is after the decimal, that will be ignored. Okay. We don't do rounding off here. Okay. It does not round off the value. So if you wish it 12.89 should become 13, that will not happen. It will just ignore whatever is after the decimal. Okay. Now, converting anything to a string is super easy. str function is used to convert any variable to a string data type or a string class. And for string, the good thing is anything can be converted to a string, because every single character can be treated as a string, whether it is a number, whether it is a special character, whether it is anything like space. So your spaces are also treated as strings or literals. Okay. So for I think A has a float, right? Right. A is a float, and if I try to convert this into a string, what should be the value? Str of A. So the data type is changed to a string, and if I print the value, what should be it?
Will be 25 with an inverted commas.
Okay, that does not display here, but it will be a string because we have already converted it, and we can see the class is now a string, and the value will be 25.0. Okay, so when you convert anything to strings, all the characters will be retained. Like if I convert an integer to float, it adds extra dot 0. If I convert anything from float to integer, it removes the decimal part. But if I convert any variable from integer or float to a string, nothing is added, nothing is removed. It will be retained as it is, just that it will have the data type changed to strings. Okay, this is clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any questions, doubts, let me know. So 3 functions we talked about: int, float, and str. Int to convert anything to integers, float to convert anything to floating values, and string to convert anything to strings. Simple. Now what about Boolean? So the function is bool. Okay. Now let's take C. So C has value called 12, which is an integer value. If I check the type also, it is integer. Okay. Now what if I do C is equal to bool of C? I can check the data type. It is Boolean now, bool. But what should be the value of it?
True.
What's this? Shaman, Kiran?
Shaman.
Okay. Kiran, your guess. After converting it to Boolean, what should be the value of C?
No, it should be true or false.
It will be false. Okay, there are
It
two
should be true or false. Yeah.
There are just 2 possible values. So it could be either true or false, but
Yeah.
it should be true.
Hmm.
Okay. So if your variable has any value apart from 0,
Okay.
any value apart from 0, then
Mhm.
if you convert that to Boolean, it will be true, always true. Okay. So if I take another variable called D is equal to 0.1, this is 0.01. Okay. This is float. Okay. Type of D is float, and if I convert this into bool, okay, type is changed. Print it. What should be the value of T?
True again.
True again.
True. So it has to be absolute 0.
Mhm.
So if I take D again as 0, okay, and now convert it into D is equal to D, print D, this time it should be false. Okay, D is equal to 0.0. This is float. Okay, and if I convert it into Boolean, print D, okay, this time it will be false. Even with the negative numbers, it will not be false. Okay, so if I take B is equal to -5, this is negative number, signed number, okay, and convert D is equal to bool of D, print D. This will be true. So it has to be absolute 0. Only in that case, you will have the Boolean conversion to true. Sorry, false, when it is absolute 0. Otherwise, it will always be true. Okay, let's take another variable called e and assign some string. Okay, and if I convert e to bool, this will be converted for sure. The data type will be bool. But what should be the output? Here.
Again, true.
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 Okay, this would be true. Okay, fine. What if I say e is equal to false and e, what should be the output now?
True.
It is
True.
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 But I have assigned false, right?
Yeah, but it's a string,
Consider as a string.
not the output.
Boolean.
Right. Okay. So what should I use to get something like false from the string? What should I do? If I say e is equal to something, what should be that something? If I say single quotes, space, single quotes, what should be it? What should it be?
That will be true.
Okay, this will be true.
Only 0.
Okay, if I say e is equal to empty quotes, just I start the quote and end the quote, nothing in between. Okay, this is your string. I convert that into bool. This time, if I print e, this will be false. Okay, understood?
Yes, sir.
So when you are converting anything from integer and float to Boolean, if the value is not absolute 0, then it will be true always. Just when the value is 0 or 0.0 or 0.000, then only it will be false. In case of strings, if your string has any character, anything, any simplest of the character, even a single space also, this will be converted to true. Okay, this will be converted to true. If your string does not have anything, just the starting quotes and the ending quotes, then only it will convert to false in Boolean. Clear? Yes, no, maybe questions, doubts.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So if you wish, I can comment here. Integers quotes Boolean if the value is 0 or 0.0 and multiple zeros, then variable will be converted to false. Okay, else clear? while converting any strings to Boolean, if the string is completely empty, no characters at all, then variable will be converted false, else true. Okay. Now, what is E? What is inside E? False. Okay. So E has a Boolean value of false as of now. Like D has true. Okay. So what if I convert D into integer? Possible. And print the data type of, no, just the value. That's fine. What should be the output of this? I have converted D, which had true as the value. I have converted D into integer. Now, what should be the value of D?
It will again ask us to define the value, to give the value.
Didn't get that, Shaman. A little louder, please.
We should again define a value for it, since that had already been executed. Since the previous value which we had given will be erased.
So, see, D had true as a value as of now, which is a Boolean value. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm converting that Boolean value to integer. Okay. So what should be the value of D now? Will be converted to 1. Okay. For int, it will be converted to 1. And for floats, it will be converted to 1.0. Okay. So if I have true as a Boolean value, if I convert that into integer, it will be 1. If I convert that to float, it will be 1.0. Simple, right? True means 1 in Boolean, right?
Right.
And very simple. If we convert E, let's convert E to float, it will work. And if I print E, what should be the value? Okay, I'm using these codes. Do not mistake them for a string. Okay, I'm using those codes to highlight those words. Okay. So if I convert that to integer, it will be 0. If I convert that to float, it will be 0.0. Okay. Easy, simple, right? In binaries, we have 1 and 0. The same is Boolean. Boolean is true and false, right? Boolean and binary, they go hand to hand, hand in hand. If I say Boolean, I'm actually talking about binaries. Right? What is binary? Binary means two values. 0 or 1. True or false, yes or no, right? So false is always converted to 1 and 1.0, depending what are you trying to convert into. And similarly, false is converted to 0 or 0.0. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's come back to the program that we had started. So for X, I need some number. So I'm using input function to receive some number from the user. Okay. So I'll say, so now in input function, what we can do, we can prompt, we can ask user. So if you do not use prompt, the cursor continuously blinks and you need to guess that it is asking for something. Okay. So within input function, we can provide a string as prompt. Now, when we provide a string as a prompt, instead of the cursor blinking there, it will give you a text, a meaningful text that says you need to provide something. Okay. So I'll type here, enter the first number. Make it look good, aesthetically good, put a colon, give a space, and close the brackets. Okay. Again, for the Y, I would say input second number, enter the second number. Okay. So I'm using the same input function. I'm just putting this text which will be displayed on the screen while prompting for the input. Easy, Shaman, Kiran?
Yes.
Okay. I'll run this now and let's see what is the output here. So what should I provide for the number? Let's say 24. Okay. And second number maybe 52. Fine. Now what should be the output? Any one of you take a guess. Look at this file. And tell me the output.
So class string something.
That's 76.
Shaman.
76.
Kiran.
It's a string.
Okay. What should be the output? If I print Z here, what should be the output?
No, it's 2452.
Okay. Kiran, do you agree or you want something else?
Yes. It shows 2452. It should be a
2452.
string.
Right. Because we have not yet changed the data type. It is still a string.
Right.
Okay. So now you can either do it in this way. I can type x is equal to integer of x, y is equal to again integer of y. Save this file and run this again. Provide whatever numbers you want. I'm using the same numbers to make it better. Okay. This time the output would be the number that you want, 76. Okay. But instead of writing these two lines here, Python is such a good language that it allows you to write almost everything in a single line. Okay. So I can use int function right here before the input function. So this input function becomes an argument for my integer function, int function. So whatever value will be received here, that will be put inside this int function. Okay. And x will automatically receive it as an integer. Same for the y. Okay. Now, I don't need to write it in the new lines. The values that we provide, they are converted then and there at the time of receiving the input. Okay. Run this. Let's change the numbers. Okay.
Okay.
So now my program is a very good program because it does not add just the two numbers that I have written in the program. Okay, it will run any two numbers. It will add to any two numbers, whichever I want. They can be any longer. They can be whatever I know, whatever I provide here. Okay. So, any questions till now that you guys want to ask here?
No, sir.
Shamu?
No.
Okay. So, before we close for today, let's just quickly talk about something called shorthand. Okay? Python has quite a few shorthands. Okay, so now if I want, like I have, say, what would be the value in X if I print here? Any idea?
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. So the previous program that was run, that has restarted this entire shell. Okay, and the variables used in that program, they are active here. Okay, so it will have 1, 2, 3. If I print Y, it will have that 7,21,313. Okay. Now, if I want to let me comment here. I want to add 10 in value of X. So what should I write? I want to add 10 to the value of X. What should I write? Simple mathematics. No programming. It is
So X
plain
plus 10.
X is equal to X plus 10, right? This adds 10 to the existing value in the X variable, right? I print X, I'll get it as 133, right? However, in Python and in other programming languages also, you have this. Not everything, but most of the things are there. So instead of writing X is equal to X plus 10, I can say X plus equals 10. Okay. This is exactly same as writing X is equal to X plus 10. Okay. So this operator here, plus equals, this means adding and assigning back to the same variable. Okay. We are adding and assigning the value back to the same variable. Okay. So if I print X now, what should be the value?
$143.
143. Simple. So this works same as X is equal to X plus 10. And similarly, we have all these things. If I say X minus equals 10, this is exactly same as X is equal to X minus 10. We have X multiplication equals 10. This means X is equal to X multiplied by 10. Similarly, X division equals, this also is absolutely what you think. X is equal to X divided by 10. Okay. So you can give it a try on your own, no problems. It is very simple, very simple. It is just the way of writing it in shorthands. Okay. So instead of writing the entire thing, you can write in this manner. And believe me, in starting you would say, why should I write it like this? I can simply write the same way or the old way. But if you get your hands fairly practiced on this, you will like this and you will prefer writing in this manner. Okay. Now, one more thing here. If I have, suppose, hello. So you have seen we can add two strings, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, what should I do that there should be a space in between hello space class? In the same thing, what should I do?
Provide space before the starting of class or head by
Right,
the
I can put a
after
space. I can put a space here, or I can put a space here. Right?
Okay.
Look good. Now, I have a variable called a, and that has hello. A. And if I have a variable called class, if I do a plus b, what it would be? What should be the output? Hello class, right? Now, if I want to put a space in between, what should I do? Think
You
about
should
it.
have space.
So I would say a concatenate. So you can call it plus, no problems. But with the strings, it is concatenation. A concatenate, give a space as a string, and concatenate again with b. Okay. Suppose I want to put an exclamation mark later. So we concatenate like this. Okay. So this is how your concatenation works, and it will be very huge, very, very useful, very helpful, very useful. Okay.
Okay.
Now, what if I say a multiplied by 5? So a has value hello, and I'm trying to multiply it with something. I'm trying to multiply it with an integer. First of all, should it be allowed? Is it going to throw an error?
It will throw an error.
Okay, Kiran, your guess.
Sorry, sir, I was in call. I was on call.
Okay, no problems. Did you see this concatenation thing?
Yeah. So I have a doubt in this part.
Yes.
So while defining b value,
yes.
b is equal to class, right?
Yes.
So can we define the space there itself? B equals to space class.
No. The reason is you will have variables received through inputs. Okay. Kiran.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're there on a call.
Yeah.
So I'm saying
Yeah, I have to leave now, but
that's okay. That's okay. Just we are finishing in 2 minutes. Okay. So you will receive inputs for your variables. Okay. And while inputs are received, so if I provide a name saying Shaman or Kiran, okay. When someone provides their name, they will not put a space in that, right? Or they will not start their name with a space, right?
Yeah.
And they are not even going to end their name with a space, right? So that should be in your program.
Okay.
Okay. So you should be careful. You have some literal and then you want to put a space there, then use a space as an extra character for concatenation. And then whatever the variable has, so variable will have the name. So like if you really want to try something, we have not covered this. When we will cover something from the sys module and the control flow statements, based on the time of the day, you can decide. So you will ask the user to input their name, and then you will say good morning user or good afternoon user. So based on the time and the input received from the user, like that you can write a program. Okay. So now I was asking about this. I am multiplying a string with an integer. What should be the output? Should it throw an error? Should it give some output? Or should it be something different? I'm trying to multiply a string with an integer.
It will throw an error.
Okay. Someone has something else. Ramya, you are not connected to audio. You need to connect to audio. Okay, so both of you agree it should be an error?
Yes.
Okay. So surprise, it will not be an error. It will multiply your string.
Okay.
Okay, so a string gets repeated.
Okay.
Okay, now this plus equals shorthand works for strings also, and this multiplication equals works for strings also. These two things work for the strings as well. Okay, if I have a is hello, and if I say a plus equals class the space and sorry, different codes. This will work. Shorthand works for strings as well. Okay, and if I say a multiplication equals 2, this also works. Okay, so that's all for today. If you guys have any questions, any doubts, let me know.